Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Covering both sides of the big issues with the analysis you trust on News Radio 1040 WHO.
Need to know with Jeff Angelo is indeed the program. So it's hot again in Iowa, which means, according to studies, in your office right now, the women are cold and the men are too hot. It's time again for Iowa office thermostat wars. No, don't argue with me. It's science. It's science. So if you're a boss, how in fact do you handle the thermostat wars, or do you just ignore? La la la. It's not going on at all. For issues like this, I always go to my friend Joel Patterson, who's the founder of the Vested Group. The Vested Group is always on those lists of best companies for which to work, and so that's why I asked Joel workplace culture questions. Hey, Joel, welcome back to Iowa Radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Good to be here.
All right, Joel, look, it goes on. It happens, all right? And even in the office today, I have some ladies, they've got jackets on, got guys actually wearing tank tops. So how do you resolve the thermostat war, or as a boss, do you just stay out of it?
Well, first of all, isn't it feel good to have a 2019 argument? I mean, it's kind of refreshing to remember how offended you would feel when you see those locked thermostats walk into office.
That is true, my friend. That is a great point.
But there is no doubt that this is happening, and it's interesting because we've gotten really used to being at home and being able to control the thermostat and do whatever we want with it, and then you get to the office and you remember these arguments that you would have. And first of all, it's most importantly, avoid a thermostat war when that does happen, because this is actually a way that you could differentiate yourself. And with the labor shortage and everything else, you're always looking, not that you're going to advertise that, but when people come in, you don't want them complaining about things. But it can also be a reason for people not to go to the office. So you got to treat it with some criticality, because you don't want anybody having a reason not to go in the office when you're asking them to come in. So, make a game of it. Try to find ways to maybe you do a voting contest or something, but ultimately just buy a $20 heater and put it under somebody's desk. I mean, that has a really big impact on a lot of people. We have a guy named, we call him D-Rob, and he's our local, always 20 degrees hotter than everybody else. and unfortunately for him, he really hears it because he's next to the ladies' bathroom.
Yeah. And
so whenever he's dropping the temperature, they pay the price for it. So every single time that somebody walks out of there, he's hearing it. So there's, you're going to have to deal with it one way or another.
Well, and I think that people think it's funny that you say buy somebody a heater, during the hot weather, but I mean, you're just trying to handle the problem. I don't know, Joel, have you ever seen any science as to what the optimal temperature in office should be? Yesterday, I had a gentleman on from an energy company here, and I was asking him how we can get through this heat advisory, and he said, put your thermostat at 78. And my text line just erupted, Joel. I mean, we had thermostat wars on the text line. I don't know if you've ever seen any science as to where offices should be here.
Well, believe it or not, OSHA has a recommended temperature for people, and they say it's 68 to 76. So that didn't help at all.
No.
Right? I think that just kind of keeps the problem going, and OSHA, once again, really adding value.
Yeah, very, very helpful.
Research says between 74 and 78 is the best thing for both men and women to minimize complaints. But even then, I feel like is a little high. Research is saying that. That doesn't necessarily mean what is the most productive. And the interesting thing, there was a study not that long ago of university students, and they messed with the temperature while they were taking a test, and they found that men actually performed better when the temperature was a little cooler, and women vice versa. So there is some truth to productivity.
Yeah.
And making sure that people feel comfortable while they're sitting in their desk.
But the bottom line, Joel, is as a boss, you can't avoid it, right? I mean, you should be seen as addressing it.
Yeah, embrace it. Have some fun with it is what I would say. Because it's out there. Everybody complains about it. You can find some way to make it just an interesting part of the conversation. At least you'll get a little mileage for it.
That is our friend Joel Patterson, Vested Group. Joel, thanks very much for joining me today.